Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's space. Hi, Lark.
Hi, how's it going?
Great. How is it going? How are you?
Yep, doing excellent, doing excellent. Thanks for having me on for a chat today.
So, yeah, we can get started, I guess.
Fantastic.
Lark, how much do you know about NIM? Should I give you a quick intro before we start, just so you have some context?
Sure. Tell me a bit more about what you guys are doing.
Yeah, okay. Firstly, I'm Diane. It's nice to meet you, and I'm the social media manager for NIM. So I work a lot on Twitter here. As for NIM, we're a Web3 privacy project, basically building the next generation of privacy infrastructure, as we say it. And what it does is that it aims to protect communication patterns, IP addresses, and that's basically metadata for end users, as well as enterprises and infrastructure operators. So NIM basically addresses this issue at the core of the internet, which is the visibility of traffic patterns. I don't know if you were aware, but even when content is encrypted, the metadata and communication patterns can still reveal sensitive information. And so NIM uses a decentralized mixnet that can be accessed anonymously to protect users, communication blockchains, and apps from surveillance and unauthorized data collection. So NIM also has a staking mechanism where anyone can contribute to the mixnet by staking their NIM tokens to mix nodes and earn a share of operator rewards. Developers can also build apps that provide privacy features by integrating with NIM. We're actually integrated with Telegram, and we have a tutorial on how to use all those on our YouTube channels. You can also operate your own mix node on the mixnet and start earning rewards. For you and for everyone else, you can find all of this information on NIM's official website. So yes, I hope that was enough.
It's a pretty gosh darn good overview.
Yes, I prepared one right before because I was like, I want it to be pretty simple and straightforward because there's so much to say. Tell me about yourself. So can you please introduce yourself to our audience and share a bit about what you do in the Web3 space?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Lark. I've been making cryptocurrency related content since 2017, basically as my full-time job. So it's been fantastic. I love being in the crypto space. It's always fun. It's always exciting. There's never a dull day, it seems, in crypto. And we make content on YouTube, now posting podcasts as well, making content here on the X app as well. Also have newsletters and courses and all these sorts of things. So really deeply involved in the space as a content creator. And it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun to be involved in the cryptocurrency space. And it's a very challenging space to be in as well because we're so cyclical. It's not just with the price of the assets, it's also with attention, right? And as a content creator, you work in the attention economy. So when markets slow down, views slow down and all that stuff. So it can be a very challenging space to work in for a variety of reasons, but it's also a very rewarding space, obviously, because every few years things get pretty crazy.
Right. And I believe you focus on trading, right?
I focus more on investing.
Okay.
Obviously, we do talk a little bit about trading and stuff like that and market structure and what's happening in markets. I think that information is really important for investors to be focusing on. So it's not so much a trading channel. We don't really focus on that, but what's more focused on investing and sort of the long-term potential of the entire cryptocurrency asset space, looking at where Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other important cryptocurrencies have come from and where they may be going, as well as sort of looking at what could be the next big thing, keeping an eye on newer projects and new blockchains that they launch and the explosion of layer 2 technology and all these different things. So working in the cryptocurrency content space, it's like drinking from a fire hose every day because there's so much happening. There's so many new projects that are coming out. There's so many new technological advances all the time. There's so much drama happening in the crypto space on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, you must be totally busy and you must have a lot of research to do as well. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
How did you find your way into the Web3 ecosystem? Like, what led you to dive into this space? Were you already creating content before Web3?
It's where I started making content. Web3 is where I started making content. So it's funny because I actually heard about Bitcoin back in 2012 when I was working as a tutor at university. never had the conversation. Well, I had it. That sounds really interesting, but I was like, nah, I need to have beer money for this weekend, so I'm gonna skip the whole Bitcoin thing. And fast forward a few years, and I really started diving into what crypto was, and that was 2017, and the technology and all these things. And so I started making videos as a way to really document my journey through the cryptocurrency space. And of course, it morphed since then. It used to just be a dude talking about cryptocurrencies on the internet. Now it's something more, right? It's a business that I built around the cryptocurrency space. But yeah, that was kind of where I started making content, was part of my journey in the cryptocurrency space. And also realizing that there's a lot of great ways to earn money in the cryptocurrency space, whether it be through affiliate marketing or sponsorships or selling paid products or wherever else it might be. And I looked at it as such a nascent space where there's so many opportunities for creators to come in and to find those opportunities early on in the space. And so that's kind of where my journey started into cryptocurrency content creation. Initially just documenting my journey and answering people's questions that they would ask me in the comment section, stuff like this, making videos around interesting ideas that I saw pop up there. And then long term, really thinking about, okay, well, I love this. So how can I make this my full-time job? How can I go all in? And it was November 2017, actually, when I quit my regular job and went all in on crypto, which was a great decision. A tough time to make the decision because we had about 2 months of things being really, really great and exciting still. And then obviously the bear market came, and getting through that bear market as a person trying to run a business in the space was very difficult. And I didn't have much of a business, so to speak, set up at the time. I was still mostly just a content creator. And over time, I really thought, okay, well, what are the kind of businesses that I can create around this space? And that's when the newsletter came, and we started launching courses and stuff like that. So, it morphed from there, but it's been one hell of a journey, that's for sure.
That does sound, wow, what a journey. 6 years, that's quite a long time, actually. Can you tell me a little bit more about the newsletter? Like, what type of content do you put out on the newsletter? I heard that it's one of the most subscribed to a newsletter in the crypto space.
Yeah, so the Wealth Mastery newsletter, I think it's a fantastic product. Obviously, I'm biased, but it's a fantastic newsletter. We have a team of writers. We have some writers on board, and we produce just an incredible amount of really useful content every week. It's not just news. Of course, we cover the news as well. We try to cover all kinds of different alpha that's happening in the crypto space, whether that's reviewing newer altcoins, whether that's looking at different airdrop opportunities. We've got someone doing technical analysis. Rec Capital, he's here on Twitter. He's a great TA guy. So we've got fantastic, just alpha-packed issues coming to your inbox 3 times per week. And that's kind of the focus of the newsletter, is giving people a bite-sized way to access some of the fire hose of information that you have coming through in crypto every week. So our team's probably spends about 40 hours a week writing the newsletters. It's all condensed down into something you can read in 10 minutes.
Yeah, 3 times a week. We do it once a month, and it's already a lot of work, so I can imagine. After 6 years, you've now become a huge influencer with over 1 million followers on Twitter. As one of the largest influencers in the Web3 space, what responsibilities do you feel come with that title?
That's a great question. And obviously, it's something that's hard and something I think about a lot, especially these days. There have been problems in the past with working with bad affiliate partners, for example, and it ended up being bad for everybody. And it's tough. It's a tough space to work in because the failure rate for altcoins is extremely high. The failure rate for companies is uncomfortably high. And so there's a lot of dangers working in the space as a content creator. You work with an affiliate partner and then things go wrong, and it sucks. And it's the kind of stuff that people get burned by this stuff. And it's really tough from that perspective, because even if you're talking about a decentralized exchange or whatever it might be, I mean, look at how many hacks there have been over the last couple of years. Look how many bridge hacks there's been, centralized exchange hacks there's been. Even the top DeFi platforms, other than like something like Curve Finance, they get hacked too. And so it's a really difficult space to work in. And you see, for example, as well, we had recently Vitalik X account got hacked, and they posted a malicious link, and people were getting their funds stolen because they were approving these dangerous contracts that drained their wallets. And there's a lot of difficulties in working in this space. And there's a lot of ways that people have been running into trouble, so as a content creator, it's a difficult path to navigate sometimes, and you don't always get it right. And it's problematic when you don't get it right, because people on the other end of you not getting it right can run into tough consequences because of that. And you can as well. I've obviously had my share of coins that I've invested in that have gone to absolute shit, and it's not great. It's not great for anybody, and that's sort of dangers of operating in this space in general, especially if you're going beyond just buying Bitcoin, taking it off of an exchange, putting it on your hardware wallet. That's probably the safest way to be active in the space. But even then, there's still potential problems with what if you lose your seed phrase for your Ledger wallet and then you're screwed. So there's definitely a technological learning curve for everybody, influencers as well, but also for regular people on the other end of that. And where a lot of us are still navigating the space because there's still new things coming up all the time that need to be navigated. It's problematic. So, as a content creator, I really try my best to educate people on the dangers that we see in the space and keep people up to date with some of those things that are happening in the cryptocurrency space.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you mentioning that. That kind of brings me to my next question, which is on privacy. And obviously, Nim cares a lot about privacy, and we're very privacy centric. You've mentioned about hackings and data leaks and stuff like that. So privacy, I would say, is quite a hot topic these days, all the time for me, but especially in the Web3 space, it's highly important. So do you have any thoughts on the current state of privacy in general, and also in Web3?
I think privacy is definitely something that we need a lot more of in the cryptocurrency space. And obviously, if you're making videos online talking about cryptocurrencies, your privacy is going to be less. But for the average user, there's also really not much privacy. And that is part of the benefit of cryptocurrencies, because it does allow outside observers to look in and to track the moves of bigger accounts and to keep people honest and all these kind of things. Absolutely get that angle of it. But the flip side is that if somebody knows your wallet address, they find out your wallet address and they can see how much wealth you have, it becomes problematic from a security perspective for people. And so I think we need to see more of that development of broader adoption of privacy technology in the cryptocurrency space, because the reality is that right now, if you're using most major public blockchains, there's very little to no privacy in most situations. And sure, if you're using Ethereum, you can use something like Tornado Cash to try and wash your funds, but that's now illegal technology according to the United States. And if you want to have private transactions, you might look at something like Monero and, okay, I'm going to make private money transactions, but those aren't widely accepted cryptocurrencies. For example, you need layers of technology that are able to work with existing networks or can bring in very robust solutions to really protect people's privacy, because we are dealing with money here. And that level of privacy and the protection that privacy can give you becomes very important, especially as we start to bring in hundreds of millions of more users, people of which don't want to be targets if they do achieve big wealth in the cryptocurrency space, or firms which might want to have a little bit more discretion around the things that they're doing. Maybe the things they're tokenizing on chain, for example, so that their competitors can't see the day that they do it, for example. So there's a lot of reasons why we need to have more privacy in the cryptocurrency space. And of course, it's one of those things that we need on-chain technological solutions to really come into play for.
Yes, totally agree. Of course, we do need more privacy. And as you said, there's always two sides of the same coin. And also, as you mentioned Monero, so actually Nim has integrated with Monero a few months ago. So that could be interesting for people to know. And are you personally a user of VPNs in general, or Tor? Do you try yourself to protect your data or your browsing activity?
Yeah, of course. VPNs is one way I do that. And I think it is important to try and protect yourself to some extent, right, online. And it's hard for the average user because the thing is that there are so many attack vectors. And one thing I always say to people when it comes to like cryptocurrency hacking as an example, and I think it equally applies to privacy, is that for you, it's just something that you do on the side. But for other people, it's their full-time job trying to steal your cryptocurrencies, find out information about, well, how much crypto do you have? Is it worth pulling off a $5 wrench attack on you and stuff like this? And that's all very, very problematic from a privacy perspective. And that is good that we have these very simple tools, whether it be a VPN or some other tools that regular people can use. But while we have seen broad adoption for that technology, I think the average user probably still isn't switched on to this kind of stuff, which is unfortunate.
Yes, I agree. And that's why I think we need to communicate more on the importance of privacy and have everyone be aware of how and why it matters. That kind of brings me to my next point. Do you think that privacy solutions, such as like what NIM is working on, will be essential for mass adoption of Web3 technologies later on?
I think so. I think that Web3 technologies without some kind of integrated privacy become very, very problematic. Because let's take CBDCs as an example. So CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, are going to be completely unprivate from the perspective of the government, who can look in and see exactly what you're doing all the time. Now, for the end users, you're not going to be able to see how much money your neighbor has in his central bank digital currency account. So they're, in a lot of ways, already beating us on privacy technology, and CBDCs are very, very problematic for a variety of reasons, including all the different nefarious things that they can do when we talk about the programmability of money, whether that be putting in expiration dates for your money, not allowing you to spend it on certain things, completely shutting your account down, whatever it might be. There's a lot of extreme things that government programmable digital money will be able to do. But one thing that it will do is hide account balances from your neighbors or, random people online. They'll see everything that you do, but regular people will not be able to see that. And that's depressing for me because I feel like the cryptocurrency space, the decentralized space, the space where we want to see innovation happen, needs to catch up to some extent to this to allow for better privacy tools for the average end user in the space so that they can have more robust personal privacy when it comes to using the decentralized open networks.
Yes, totally agree. And I would say as CBDCs gain more prominence, like the risk of mass surveillance is really larger than ever. And that's really scary, I think, in our society, the way we're becoming more and more cashless and the opportunity for larger enemies to surveil the people is very dangerous. And yeah, I mean, NIM is coming up with a solution where we're actually working on the NIM VPN that will come out within a few months' time, and we already have a product that's in beta mode, and that product is integrated with a few apps like Telegram, Monero, and a few others. So that's something we're doing already, but we really feel strongly about this and want to give like the power back to the people. And that's also something that this technology, cryptocurrencies, decentralized blockchain, that's something that originally, that's what it was created for, right? To give the power back to the people to be really P2P and not have to go through external solutions. So yeah. And I wanted to ask, and that's a more general question, but where do you see the Web3 space heading in the next 5 years?
I think the next 5 years for the entire Web3 space are going to be incredibly, incredibly exciting. And also, some of it's going to be terrifying because I think we do start to see the rollout of central bank digital currencies. We already starting to see those roll out in some countries, and we're going to see more of that moving forward, which becomes a very sort of dangerous, almost like a Trojan horse-like thing within the crypto space, because your average user might come in and say, well, I'm just going to use CBDCs because I don't need stable coins, I don't need Bitcoin, I can just trust my government money. I'm not sure trust the governments is super high at this point, to be honest, but that'll be something we have to contend with. I think we're going to continue to see huge advances in privacy technology. I know that we are seeing Ethereum developers, for example, talking about how to implement more privacy technology on major chains like Ethereum so that your average user can actually have more privacy solutions in hand. I think we're going to see a huge takeoff in the total number of users coming into the space. Projections could have us at a billion users or potentially more within 5 years. So as we see more and more people come in, this conversation around privacy is going to become more and more important, I think, for crypto as we continue to move forward. And of course, we're going to have all kinds of other crazy going on. We'll have a new crypto gaming season and a new crypto AI season, and Dogecoin season will come back and all this stuff. But if you look at the prevailing trends within the cryptocurrency market, even if we have not favorable, let's put it politely, macro conditions moving into the end of the year, potentially early next year, I look at the innovation happening in the cryptocurrency space, the potential for that innovation to continue at the pace that it has been continuing at. And we've seen massive innovation during even this bear market that the cryptocurrency market has been experiencing. And that innovation is something that I'm not personally betting against. In fact, I'm betting on the success of that innovation. How long does it take? We shall see. But I certainly think that when you see the number of users continuing to come in, when you see the massive institutions getting involved, when you see the massive fintech companies, whether it be Visa or PayPal or Shopify, all getting into cryptocurrency, all making major announcements in the last few months, you realize the potential of the asset class more broadly, in that we are nearing our mainstream adoption moment, where probably one of the key things that we need to see happen is for the average user to be able to use cryptocurrencies without having to go through the sort of more laborious process that many of us current users have to experience. We need to abstract away some of those difficulties, and that is already happening. We are already starting to see those kind of things happen with account abstraction technology coming to Ethereum, with different blockchains already having account abstraction technology, with different applications that are being built where people are going to be able to, for example, send USDC stablecoins from point A to point B using a blockchain, but not necessarily knowing that they're using a blockchain. And so that inflection point for the technology is when we tip over into massive mainstream adoption. And I feel like we're getting closer and closer to that. And this could be the cycle of huge mainstream adoption beyond just simple speculation that we've seen in previous cycles. So that's kind of what I'm looking at and banking on.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and we've seen that most companies that have adopted this technology at the moment are quite like tech companies, basically technology-based companies. So do you think that more traditional industries might also be interested to move on to adopting blockchain technologies, let's say? Because we have seen with the recent AI waves, a lot of traditional companies right away adopting AI for, like, let's say, online assistance, a lot of things like that. So do you think that blockchain could see a similar kind of adoption, but just slower because of the tech itself?
100% it will. And actually, there's so many interesting stories about coming institutional adoption, coming corporate adoption. And there's been a lot of different surveys that have talked to, corporate financial officers and stuff like this, and CEOs. And most of them have said, we see our company having some kind of blockchain strategy or blockchain integration within the next few years, or we're working on it right now. And we've seen all kinds of different blockchains bringing out different kinds of solutions to be able to tokenize real world assets, for example, which is a massive potential use case for the cryptocurrency industry, or to be able to launch customized blockchains as something that your company specifically can use, or to launch NFTs for your customers, and all these different things like we've seen Starbucks and other companies doing, where they bring out NFTs that their customers can get on board with. And so it's going to be everywhere soon. And I think any corporation that is ignoring cryptocurrencies and not finding some way to leverage this, whether it's NFTs for your community, whether it's disrupting your current payment rails, like the Shopify Solana partnership is huge, because Shopify knows that they can have a better end user experience for both purchasers and for merchants by using a payment service that's going to cost a fraction of a penny. So we're going to continue to see these kind of stories coming out. And I think that companies that don't have some kind of Web3 strategy are probably going to get left behind. Now, look, does that mean Joe the plumber down the street necessarily needs to have NFTs? Probably not. Could he have NFTs? Maybe. Could he accept Bitcoin as a payment? Potentially. Can he benefit from privacy technology so that, he's able to accept payments anonymously? Of course he can. So there's definitely scope for even your average business to be able to, in one way or another, use Web3 technology. But I think the smaller businesses may not have as many use cases for it as some of the bigger businesses are going to, and the potential impact of those bigger businesses on the wider ecosystem when they do launch those kind of products.
Yeah, I do believe that at the end of the day, for mass adoption, it will be about user experience, how apps are to use for the layman. And yeah, and actually, you mentioned community just now. I wanted to touch on that because community is something that has become extremely important as well with the recent rise of Web3. And you yourself must know that since you're yourself an influencer. How do you think this has come about, like this community, this belief in like one project has a community and then we have to like work all together, compared to like more traditional style of businesses that didn't really work like that? It was more like I made this product and then you're my customer. But now it's more like a collaboration, a group effort almost, we could say. What do you have to say about this evolution?
The community aspect of cryptocurrency is actually super fascinating. You don't tend to see this with, like, I don't know, Johnson and Johnson stocks. You know? I'm sure there's somewhere out there is a message board of people who are super into Johnson and Johnson stocks, but it's not quite to the same level we see with cryptocurrencies, where people are using the chains on a daily basis and they get very, very excited about a specific blockchain, for example. And of course, it can tip over into toxic tribalism from time to time, without a doubt. But in general, I think the community aspect of a cryptocurrency is very, very important and really can help with the adoption of cryptocurrency, because you do get a core group of believers, of users, of adopters, and those core group of fans become big evangelists for your technology. And we can see that with a lot of major blockchains, whether we're talking about Cardano or Ethereum or Solana or whatever else. So that community aspect has become very, very important because we're talking about Web3 technology, and inherently, whereas Johnson & Johnson, for example, stocks are not really a Web3 thing, right? They're just a traditional company that sells traditional products to people, and you're probably not going to get super excited about the guy selling you your toilet cleaner. But with Web3, it becomes very exciting for people because it is an internet-based technology that finds internet-based communities that use the technology, discuss the technology with each other, and then evangelize on the technology. Because, of course, there's the advantage that more people use our technology becomes more successful, and our investments in that technology hopefully do better.
Nice. And building on that, how do you yourself decide and research what topics to feature or discuss on your channel?
Yeah, good question. I mean, it's definitely, I try to stay with sort of the bigger picture stuff. You know, what's happening at the macro scene? What are the big stories that are affecting the broader cryptocurrency market? That tends to be more of where my focus is, especially these days. I think in the past, I talked more about low cap altcoins and stuff like this, which is very problematic for a variety of reasons. And of course, right now is not the time to be talking about such coins market cycle wise. But yeah, I try to really focus on a more educational aspect of what's going on with the big picture of the market. So I tend to see where a lot of my focus goes as content creator these days.
Nice. Thank you. So we're going to wrap up soon. And before we do, I wanted to ask if you have any advice for newcomers to the Web3 space.
Yeah, let's do a few key pieces of advice. Take your profits or the market will take them for you. This market moves in vicious, brutal, very wild cycles. And when the time comes, you'll either sell your cryptocurrencies or you'll become a bag holder. And the choice is yours in that situation. So remember to take your profits when the time comes. Doesn't mean you have to sell 100% of your cryptocurrency. But if you don't take some money off the table, if you don't pay yourself, you can run into a lot of trouble. Because remember, 90% of cryptocurrency startups do fail. And so if you have 20 altcoins in your portfolio, then you have to assume that, well, 17 or 18 of those may go to zero effectively in the next bear market cycle. So you have to keep this in mind as a cryptocurrency investor. And of course, I know it's like the most golden rule of crypto, but you have to do your own research. You know, you really can't trust anybody else to do your research for you. Now, you can look at YouTube videos, for example, as a way to add to your research. But if you're investment thesis is, hey, I saw some guy on Twitter make some vaguely positive tweet about some cryptocurrency, therefore I'm going to remortgage my house and go all in on this. You're in big trouble. You've got to do your own research, and that requires actually taking the time to do stuff. And one thing I like to say for people who don't have a lot of time, if you don't have the time to research this stuff, like these altcoins, for example, yeah, there's high reward potential. There's also massive risk potential. A lot of these things go to zero. There's rug pull, there's exit scams. The list goes on and on of the associated dangers. But if you don't have the time to actually research the stuff, you've got to, I mean, it's your money at the end of the day. And I'm always shocked at how people are willing to throw their hard-earned money into something that they've only heard briefly in passing for a minute. It's crazy, but people do. So if you don't have that time to invest in researching, and not a lot of people do, then you might need to accept that your experience with cryptocurrencies may be more limited. You might want to just stick to the top coins, for example. Just dollar cost average into Bitcoin, dollar cost average into Ethereum. Maybe you like one of the other top chains. You want a dollar cost average into Solana or Cardano or Avalanche or something like this. And just do that and play it really simple, really safe. And yeah, you may get less gains than the guy who gets the 1000x dog coin. But for every one of those 1000x dog coin millionaire stories, there's 99 stories of people who lost most of their money or all of their money gambling on such things. So the cryptocurrency space isn't going anywhere, and you don't need to take on more risk than you're comfortable with and more risk than you have time to actually handle, because if you are looking at these low cap altcoins, it is risky. You do need to have time to manage that risk, to research that risk. If you don't, then you're probably going to get burned.
Wow, thank you. Well, that was a bit of a different space than we usually do, because we don't usually go that deep into crypto, the actual crypto market itself, or we're more on like topics on privacy or just our technology. So it was really good to have you give advice about that. And I hope that everyone appreciated or learned something new today. It was really good to have you here. And yeah, we're thank you so much for coming on and waking up early as well for us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Well, see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.